I know it's been a while since I fired up the sim, over 3 months actually, but I also know that I had the music turned off. Hear that? Music. Other stuff was wrong too. First, it took the better part of 5 minutes just to log into the Xbox I Know What You Do When You're Asleep app, because I had to simultaneously click the mouse button and each character I needed just to enter my username and password. Well done, Microsoft. Then I was presented with an auto-detect routine for the graphics, which I have no memory of ever seeing. It recommended Ultra, so I went with that, knowing full well that at some point that's going to collapse like a wet taco. Also, everything was set to easy, all assists, the whole schmear. Now, of course, I didn't record any of that because I wasn't going to be on very long. I just wanted to see if my shiny new piston Duke worked, and then I had to go to sleep. I mention that because the worst of it all was that my hardware assignments had been quietly and subtly altered. It was subtle because I could almost get the Duke off the ground, but not quite, and I crashed into the trees at the end of the runway. Among other things, the throttle on my yoke had been reassigned, along with the prop and mixture, by the way, and so when I went to take off power, the yoke throttle kept killing the power. I thought I was just screwing up with a new plane. So the next day I fixed all of that, decided to have a simple test flight in a plane I'm at least mostly comfortable with, the black square Caravan. And then I became aware of a couple other changes. This cinematic thing I have no memory of. I don't mind it, considering the sim used to just dump me into the cockpit with a loud bang. And then there is this business of switches lighting up like glowworms. I don't mind that either, what with the finicky click spots on some of these panels.
TOS system test OK.
Just a quick word here about my GTX unit. Now, I started off a long time ago with the TDS. Then I switched to the PMS because not being able to update the nav data actually became kind of a problem for me. And then the day after I paid $25 for a 1-year license for the PMS, TDS comes out with their update which allowed Navigraph updates. So now I've switched back to the TDS for the same price. So this is KBVS, Skagit Regional Airport, or as I like to call it, KBVS. And I've gained a certain familiarity with this airport because I work very close by. camera controls are messed up. I'm going to save a little time here. That first approach didn't work because for some reason the airplane did not want to descend.
500.
Now, the eagle-eyed among you are about to notice that I have two sceneries loaded here. One's a freeware, and the other is FS Dream Team. That was completely my fault, and that has since been fixed.
Smooth one. That's what people pay for.
Well, it looks like things work. The important stuff, anyway. So I guess it's safe now to have a crack at the Dukes. See you next time. Thanks for watching.